Alrighty, welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. My co-host, the best, the wonderful Becky Alley.
What is going up? Happy Saturday. It's beautiful out, and I'm very happy to be here.
Absolutely. Hey, Becky, you get to use that pool that finally got finished up, right?
Yes, I did get the heater going yesterday for the first time. I'm trying it out. It finally got in there. We're doing the landscaping thing, which is a whole other thing, but... pray
Of course,
for me.
we bring you 1 hour of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show. We're going to talk all about mortgages and real estate. We bring in some great special guests. My buddy, met him a couple years ago, started doing a little business with you. I can't get all your business. Nick Calte. How you doing, Nick?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
The great Nick Calte, Quest Realty. You bring in none other than, we know she's a superstar, Stacy Taylor.
Yay.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
Stacy, you're so shy. And I'm like, saw you in the parking lot. I go, you're nervous, aren't you? And you said, but I recognized you. No, I'm joking, but I know you were on HGTV. So we're going to talk about that real quick. Come on.
All right. Yeah, that was 2019. I was on a television show called Lakefront Bargain Hunt, and my clients bought in Clarkston, right in my hometown.
How much fun is that?
It was awesome. It was 4 days of filming, full crew from New York. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity.
I'd be like, hey, everybody, I'd be like my business card, HGTV, also known as I was on TV.
She does some advertising for you.
That would be in big, thick letters right in the back of your card there. I caught a little bit this morning. There's no doubt, like even when I turn on the TV, there's a lot of that stuff that rolls over into what people are dealing with daily when they're looking at these houses. And again, that's the educational part. You have to have some experts with you. And sort of, Becky, I'm going to go back to that as we talk about the ever-changing industry. And again, not only is it the housing that's changing, but the players involved in it, the real estate agents, the loan officers and such.
Yeah, I feel like this market has quickly exploited the ones that don't have the experience, right? And experience also comes with, you don't have to be in the business for 20, 30 years, but it's also that moment of, who's going to be out there really caring for you. And a lot of people got into, mortgages and real estate because they thought it was going to be easy because the rates were really good and it was almost like you're an order taker. But those people with that mentality are, have been exposed. And, the ones with the experience are going to be the ones that are standing in the forefront, like who's in the room with us right now. And that's where you're seeing that service. It's that old school mentality that we have, that boots on the ground, who can identify a problem before it's a problem, but more importantly, who's going to take care of the problem behind the scenes to where nobody even knows you even had it. Like, that's the kind of people I need to roll with in my life, personally and professionally.
I agree. This market will definitely separate the ones that jumped in the last couple of years when anyone could sell a house or write a mortgage. And now it's going to come down to our value proposition, like you said, what we can do for our clients, troubleshooting behind the scenes. It's going to take a full-service realtor, that full-service mortgage broker to get it done now.
Here we are sitting, guys, at mid-September. New listings have declined significantly.
It's September already?
Yeah,
Jesus.
And actually, we'll talk about the new listings and inventory, and let's touch about all that. Hey, Becky, you know what? Let me throw that out there before we forget. I want to thank Carrie Glantz for taking the initiative. We went ahead and had our first ever Hardcore Mortgage Show event. We took it on the road. We were at Fifth Avenue here locally in Royal Oak, Michigan on Thursday. It was a lot of fun. All these great professionals. Want to thank them for coming out.
Yeah, it was definitely a really good time. I mean, it was our first road show, and it was the first time doing our radio show with a live audience, so that came with its own challenges. But it also made it really loose and fun, kind of like the same energy that our viewers and our listeners hear now. But it was a good time. I think it was going to be the kickoff of something that we're going to do on a bigger, grander scale. But it was really cool, and there was such great energy. And, when you associate yourself with high caliber people, you get high caliber energy. And, Nick, you guys both were there, and we appreciate you guys being in the room.
Yeah.
What was your take on it?
Oh, it was awesome. I know it was the first time thing for you guys, but it felt so natural. And so many professionals there, so much knowledge to go around. I mean, we walked in thinking like, wow, these, we have some great people in the industry that are here. Everyone's collabing. We're talking. We're fueling each other, getting each other ready for this market that we're seeing now and coming to the fall and into the winter. And it was a good time. You guys did a great job. Let's
dive into that a little bit. Stace, if you want to, take the lead on this one, the inventory issue. There's no doubt it's still not where it needs to be. It's about a 2.3 to 3.6 month supply.
I would agree, definitely. And I think overall, I hear buyers say, well, I'm waiting for the crash. And it's not happening. It's not happening anytime soon. Because our supply and demand is still so off balance. What we're seeing is more buyer opportunity, but inventory is still tight in most markets.
Yeah, I was actually talking about it where, I had, even yesterday I had someone be like, well, I'm going to wait. Do you think it's time for me to buy? I'm like, and I let them know very clear, this is not the same market that we experienced in 8, 9, 10. There is cash in these homes. And, if a buyer and seller, you're not going to lose equity as far as if you're seeing appreciation of 5%, 3% versus the 18%. What we were looking at over the last 2 years was completely unsustainable. And there's still a lot of equity in the home. So it is not going to be a housing bubble because a buyer decided that they were going to pay $20,000 over the asking price. And now 2 years later, the house is appraising what it should have been. Or their house is valued at what it actually appraised for 2 years ago, for example. They're not going to see that kind of appreciation, which is fine. But to your point, there are going to be opportunities right now where it's still very much a seller's market, but buyers have a chance to check as many boxes as they want to on these negotiations.
Absolutely.
No one's walking away from that. I mean, if you just were out there with your agent and you're 3 to 4 houses, you missed out on it, and you finally came in strong, you were able to pick up that house. And again, one of the greatest things is in the last 2 years, you might have paid 20 or 40 or 50 over, but you got a 2 to 3% interest rate. Now, those people are hunkering down. They're not going anywhere.
Right. Absolutely. I've been telling my clients, though, marry the house, date the interest rate. The interest rate is a fleeting thing. Get the house while you have opportunity, refinance down the road.
Yep.
Becky, I think you get 10 cents for every time a real estate agent says that. Becky gets paid 10 cents. Okay, anywhere that's said, she's got a patent with the United States Attorney's Office.
Yes.
An angel gets their wings every time.
Yeah, or it's better like you're looking for your forever home, not your forever loan.
Right.
That one? Well, emphasize that a little bit. Definitely.
Trademark, thank you. Bye.
Those sellers have hunkered down, Nick. There's no doubt. I mean, you don't want to walk away from 2 or 3%. They got a little scared, and then some of the buyers got scared off by the interest rate, but they better not.
Yeah.
Because they can, again, they don't have to marry, as we say, marry the loan. They just got to find the right
and
house.
realistically what it was too is there's a lot of buyers that were scared off. Probably shouldn't have been in this market anyway. So what we were left with were the qualified buyers that were going to purchase no matter what, because they've seen the history. They see that we're back to normal rates. Yeah, it was recency bias because your neighbor got a 2.5 or 3.5. But what happened is when the rates went up, we adjusted in price, and now we're back to a normal, healthy market. And like Stacy said, we're seeing negotiating power for buyers, which has now come back, and it's a great opportunity because it's not throw everything you have at homes and still lose out to 10 offers. It's finally a 50-50 between buyer seller, which is completely healthy, and that's what we like to see.
Yeah, I feel like I don't disagree with what you just said, where when the rates were so low, people were kind of just crawling out of the woodwork and be like, well, I'll try. I'll throw my hat in the ring and see what's going on.
So when we lost them, it was the people that probably shouldn't have been buying anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, because if you're intimidated by the lower rate, but the problem is that the rates were fantastic, but you couldn't hang on to all the cash that was thrown around,
That's right.
going around the room. People were refinancing their houses using that. There was just so much cash going around the last several years that it was just nuts. So obviously things were going to happen. The rate change was going to happen. It was just a lot in a really little bit of time, but we talk about it all the time as far as rates, and they're going to go up, and that's okay, but they're the same as they were in 2006. I remember I bought my first house in 2006, and the rate was at 6.25, and I remember someone talking to me like I got touched by an angel, being like, oh, you got 6.25? Oh, good for you. That's so great, right? And now it's like, oh, my God, it's it's like a death sentence, and it's all about perspective, because if you are no longer paying someone else's rent, what is 6% over you paying 100% of someone else's interest? It's all about perspective, and what are you doing to take the steps to secure your own legacy going forward?
I'm going to jump in real quick and just talk about this. I had it. I actually had a whole thing to go with it, and I turned the page on it. All right, so we got a whole bunch of buyers out there. Don't be scared of the interest rates. Again, we talk about it all the time. These are still very affordable houses. What we saw with buyers, though, in the last 2 years is they would reach out to get that house. They'd go to mom and dad and maybe get that gift letter. Some families pulled that money out of the 401k, and now they're going to put that money back into it. Maybe they had to overbid on the house and get it, but it's not the end of the world as we see homes continuing to appreciate, maybe in single digits this year.
Homes are appreciating. I mean, you're not seeing, I don't like to talk about appraisals, because as soon as you talk about appraisals, then you get an issue with appraisals, whatever. But the thing is that you are going to see some offers coming in even below, right? Can you guys attest to that? Where some of them they've been sitting on the market 26 days. They're maybe less desirable, but those other houses that are going quickly, it's because they're more turnkey.
Absolutely. If it's not to bring up HGTV, but I call them
bring it up all the time. HGTV.
Brag about it.
I call them, HGTV pretty. And if you walk in and it's a Pottery Barn store, it's going to be multiple offers. And I encourage my buyers, especially the ones that they can't play ball as hard. Then let's look at the ones that have been in the market 2 or 3 weeks. There is opportunity there. And I advise my sellers the same way. I tell them, if you are overpriced, we're coming for you.
There you go. All right, 248-539-9797. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Keep it here. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show. It is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289, Equal Housing Lender. Of course, you can find us at Capital all weekend long. 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's 1-800-569-7283. I'm Harvey Freed, Becky Alley, Stacy Taylor, and of course, Nick Calty. Join us from Quest Realty. Becky?
Yay. So, yes. So, we definitely want to hear from you. So, give us a call in the studio, 248-539-9797. I want to hear from specific people that were possibly in the market, got out, and what your experience has been now that you stepped in. Has it been like instant gratification? The reason why I bring that up is I actually had a client that looked for 2 years straight. They could not find something that fit them, that was good. And they also were very digging their heels on. They did not want to bring in this over asking abundance of money and cash because they just felt like it was just not wrong or they couldn't find something. And they literally, as soon as this market shifted, they put in one offer and it finally got accepted. And I feel like, the buyers that might be on the fence right now, this is that perfect opportunity for them to get their offers accepted.
Stace, I know you're going to say something. Talk about that style and that situation with families that are out there looking at locations. And I've had some feedback on, I got a family up north and they're way up there in Grand Traverse and there's nothing for sale. So I've said, let's expand. You got some options here. You can expand the location, the communities you're looking at, and again, the style of the house.
It's funny that you say that. I was talking with a newer agent, and he said, I've got this buyer. They really need two bathrooms. They want on the water. They want this. They want that, and there's nothing out there that they could qualify for. So I said, let's expand that. Maybe lake privilege works instead of lake access. What about 1.5 bathrooms? And right after that, they got something under contract, under asking price. So I think, like we've been saying, there's so much opportunity for buyers that are willing to look at something that's been on the market a couple weeks and maybe be a little bit creative with their list of requirements.
I feel like if the house has good bones,
Yes.
right?
That's what matters.
That's what's most important is because even like with the new construction, I feel like people were like getting into that kind of going that direction with new construction, but then they were starting, and it's no knock on builders, but they were starting to slap these houses together and you don't know what you're getting, a year down the road when it settles and things like that. And, there's great value in customizing your own home, but when a house has been around for a little bit and you can just make it what you want without having to, and it's been sitting there, it's been settled, there is value there.
Yeah, really.
Awesome.
You know the history of the home.
Yeah, the existing home sales likely will show, that's coming out next week, a decline in sales for August. There's no doubt about it. Housing starts on new construction are getting a little bit of a slowdown. However, there's still record numbers. We see it here in our own backyard. There's some new construction all around. I know north of you, Clarkston and that area and stuff. You're seeing quite a bit out there. But we got all these different styles and locations. And then, Nick, you hit it, man. We had that condo, we had that referral on that listing that we sent you in. You did a great job because automatically these ranch condos, that price got driven up real quick.
Oh, absolutely. And shout out to Victor because I know he's listening. But yeah, he kept his home nice and clean, and that condo was flying. I mean, the next day I said, hey, we have 4 offers over asking. Do you want to take one of these? Do you want to sit through the weekend? We took one. He made, his expectations were met and beyond, and we sold that thing quick because it was that HGTV looking
Yeah, you make them look nice and keep them up. Becky, no discounting the fact that a ranch is really happening now because there's so many different families looking at downside. Again, our population's getting a little bit older. I know there's a lot of the millennials are going to make up the largest segment of the population purchasing homes. But again, what are they going to buy if the old folks don't get out of their big house and then maybe drop down to the small ranch condo?
Well, I think I heard the term right sizing, not downsizing, right?
That's
And
right. That's
you
good.
have, from the age 24 to 34, that's 45 to 46 million people that are in the prime buying ages, so there is plenty of real estate to go around. And the most beautiful thing about Michigan is that we are extremely affordable considering other major metropolitan areas.
Let's go, Eric. We'll go. Let's go get Heather on the phone here. We're going to bring some exciting stuff. Hey, Heather, do you mind if we go to you a little early? How you doing?
Sure, Harvey.
All right, we got Heather Perrette down in Southwest Florida. She's one of our top agents down there. And the reason Heather gets to come on the show is because she's a friend of mine. And more importantly, she made that, what all you folks are listening to right now, she made the move. What, about a year ago, you guys, you and Mark decided to get down there and before the prices went up any further in Southwest Florida.
You are correct. We moved here about a year and a half ago. It's amazing here. We love it here. Was the best move we made.
You sure don't want to come back here for the
winter
winter
time?
time?
Happier to sell real estate where everyone wants to be. Living where most people vacation is the best we could ever be.
I mean,
My hair needs a vacation sometimes from that humidity, though.
So, Heather, let me ask
Well,
you.
it is. We've got hot and hotter. The month of July and August, yes, it's very hot here. But if you're by the water and by the Gulf, and most people have a pool,
I'll take that saltwater breeze. Don't get me wrong. So will my hair.
All right, so we got a lot of folks down here, and you said how busy it is down there. Are you already getting the calls? Does it already look like this? You know, again, people get down there in Florida at Christmas time. They're like, I got to buy. Are they going to be waiting too long? They need to go now?
actually, Harvey, the snowbirds have came alive. I am working 80, 90 hours a week, 7 days a week. I have closed on 3 homes just this week. It is very hot market. It was pretty cool last month. A lot of people sitting on the fence, sitting back window shopping. Now it is getting cold in the north, and they are like, Heather, we need to buy now.
There you go. Anything
It
in
is.
Southwest Michigan, definitely give us a call here. We'll get you hooked up with Heather. If you want, and the reason Heather was so great is these Michiganders, you know how they think, how they walk and they talk. If you're interested in buying anywhere in Southwest, you go up to about Tampa area, maybe a little bit south of that, maybe up to the Sarasota area, all the way down to the Naples area, correct?
Correct. Fort Myers. I live in Cape Coral. It's up and coming. We have our commercial development is on fire right now. We are breaking ground downtown. We have the Margaritaville in Fort Myers Beach that is about 40% done. They are working on that currently right now. Lots of resources. I work for the largest independent real estate company in Southwest Florida. I have a ton of resources and connections right at my fingertips. We also are the #1 custom home builders in the area as well. Please reach out if you have any questions or need any resources. Even if you're just coming here to vacation, I have a lot of connections with really good discounts for vacation. Many connections to offer.
And we
love
actually
it.
were just talking about short-term rentals, and sometimes it gets hard to find those right now because people are like gobbling those up. But something that people need to know is that Capital Mortgage Funding, we are licensed in all 50 states, right? So that's why we're able to reach wherever we're looking to be to service our clients, right? It's a one-stop shop. So whether someone's trying to buy in Michigan, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, whatever, we have connections everywhere. And the cool thing about Michigan is that we can be implanted anywhere and rock it out, right? You can.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can take us and put us anywhere, whether it's Florida, California, and we're going to thrive and we're going to do all the things. So, give us a call, obviously, and we'll hook you up with the right people depending on what state you're looking to get into.
Heather, thanks for joining us. We're definitely going to get you some buyers down there again. As Becky said, if you're interested in getting approved ahead of time, we'll handle that for you right up here. The best real estate agents in Florida are the people that came from Michigan. That's a for sure.
That's right.
1,000%. All right, Heather, thanks for joining us. We're going to get you back and stay cool down there.
Thank you. Have
right.
a great day, and thank you for your time.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, Heather Porrett down there in Southwest Florida. Again, we've got people all around the country, so if you need a great real estate agent, we'll get you approved for the mortgage. Then we send you down there, and you get some real good vibes from the people because they know how we treat people here in Michigan. We do it the right way here.
Well, let's talk about
They
real
know
quick.
New York.
Let's talk about how in Michigan you can literally get that tranquil vibe without even having to go down south, right? So we were just
Right
talking
on.
about during the break, like Higgins Lake, you got Clear Lake, you have Torch Lake, and those are the most beautiful lakes in the world. I'd put us in the world, definitely nationally for sure. I mean, I think Higgins Lake is top 1, top 2, if not behind Torch Lake. But the real estate is still affordable here in Michigan, and that you can literally walk out and feel like you're somewhere really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I was just up north this weekend and kind of did a little browsing myself. And again, you forget how beautiful our state is. We get so caught up here in this area, and you go up north, and it's like you went somewhere else. We really we have it made here, in
Yeah.
my opinion. We've got the best of everything.
I actually like going up north, to be honest with you, in the fall and in the winter. I actually prefer going up north when it's just silent. It's like you're the only person that exists and you can walk on Lake Michigan and it's frozen. And I really love the fact that we're from Michigan because it's a 365 state. It's not seasonal anymore.
Hey, slow down there. We got a few more days here before the snowboard comes out. Of course,
Yeah,
Becky wants to go
snowboarding.
snowboarding and stuff here. But a few more days of summer, and of course, we'll have a gorgeous fall here. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show. We'll be right back. Alrighty, welcome back to the show. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Again, I'm Harvey Freed and Becky Alley on the mortgage side of things. Nick Culte, Stacy Taylor join us on the real estate side with Quest Realty. They're in all over Southeast Michigan, and of course, they'll set you up as we just showed you. We got connections all over the United States. So if you need a mortgage anywhere, call Capital Mortgage Funding at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. I specialize in Florida and Michigan, and I spent some time down there in years. Have some expertise. I think it's important, and we sort of talked about that, parlaying some relationship stays. You've got your people, because of your relationship with HGTV, you've got top producers all over the country.
I do. And, I network with a lot of other top producers. I try to go to at least 1 or 2 conferences a year. So I really can place referrals with the top agents in just about any area.
And that's what we like to get into, though, is the fact that you guys have the connections that you do. So I want to, because obviously you're going to conferences and all that stuff. So right now, buyers, let's talk about them. How can a buyer in this market really be set up for success? They're hesitant over the rates, right? A lot of them is like, it's just starting that conversation. And I on my side of things, the conversation that I'm hearing as far as buyers is they were hesitant because they were afraid they weren't going to get approved. And the reality is that sometimes it's just starting that conversation with a high caliber agent and getting you guys your team signed up, that really it's more affordable than they think.
Right. Yeah. That's the main thing. And I love working with first time home buyers too, because all of this is a mystery to them. I'm 29 years old. I love helping people I grew up with. Hey, let's get you into your first home. They're starting families, whatever. And the cool thing is explaining the process and showing them that it's not as intimidating as they thought, and they can actually afford more than they thought too. Whether it's bringing 2 incomes together or just on their own and finding them a nice home, explaining to them what this market looks like and how to win offers too, especially in the scenario now where it's become more of a 50-50 like we were talking about earlier. It's a lot more, it's exciting and fun rather than the past couple of years. It was a little tough and intimidating, but now we're getting people into homes. And it's just such a more enjoyable time.
Yeah, I agree. The last couple of years, it was brutal. Your clients would send you a couple houses, and before you could even get in, they were gone. And now I actually have clients that we're going to go look at 3 or 4, maybe 5, and it's like, wow, I'm like a kid on Christmas.
They get a minute
again.
To process it.
Yeah, and
do we want this house? Do I have to tell you immediately,
yes.
or can we sit on it for an hour?
Mm-hmm.
Or so?
Second showings are starting to happen again.
Yep.
Buyers can be picky. They don't have to waive inspection anymore. Like Becky said, you're not bringing $25,000 extra in an appraisal waiver most of the time. It's a great time to be a buyer.
Yeah,
it really is.
I empathize I empathize a lot with the buyers because they were not only going through financial fatigue, right, but it was just emotional fatigue. Because you think about it, you're a first-time home buyer. You've been told, okay, you need like $5,000-$6,000, and then you got into the arena, and you're like, what? That's
Wait,
like
I need 20 or 30.
Yeah, it was very intimidating, and so it is exciting to hear that these buyers, they can come in and take a second, they can take a breath and really be educated as far as, okay, what do we have to go in here? Oh my God, I got to make an offer. And some people were just hurry up and making an offer with afraid of it getting lost. And then they were wanting to back out because they had buyer's remorse.
Yes.
Right. And I saw a lot of buyers too that were being, people were talking in their ear. It's the buzzwords when you sit down at the Thanksgiving table, crash and bubble and all these things that are not going to happen. When you hire a professional, when you have a professional lender and an agent that are going to guide you the right way, you're going to understand that it's a very healthy, clean market to get into, and you're buying into one of the biggest assets in the world.
Yeah.
You
get
just
to tell
made
your
me
lender.
feel good again about real estate, and really maybe this buyer. See, I don't want to cut you off, Nick, but stick with that. There's no doubt it's still a great time to buy. It could be a better time. It's the first time. I'm not kidding, Stace, where I literally just thought about it and said, "Wow, 4 or 5 houses to look at, no pressure. I can get my inspector in there. I got my real estate team. I understand that. The only thing that's bad now, Becky, is our rates are bumping up, and again, Fed's going to meet
not even
on
bad,
Wednesday.
though. Yeah,
not so
It's
bad.
just back to, it's healthy. It's
right.
back to normal.
No, because we're in a cycle, okay? If part of being successful in personal and financial is when you can recognize patterns, right? And there's a pattern that's happening. We've seen this before. The rates have moved, and then there's going to be opportunities later on to refinance. Now, when that's going to happen, I don't know. Could it be in 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Okay, but the reality is that opportunities are going to come around for people to save money. So that doesn't mean that you need to stay in mom and dad's basement another year longer or pay $1,500 in rent when you can pay $1,500 on a mortgage on a house that you can very clearly afford.
Which is your own asset and your own equity, right? When you rent, you're paying 100% interest. So anyone that says, "Hey, I'm going to wait for prices to drop," think of how much you're paying in a year's time. That could have been the same amount of money you used towards a home that you're building your own equity, your own asset.
So take me through So someone's coming to you for the first time, they're a
Yeah.
first-time home buyer. What are those expectations that you're setting up? And then we'll let Stacy take the listing side, because I know you
Yeah.
do a lot of listings, right?
Stacey's
so what
the
are those
listing queen,
expectations
so-
that you're setting? Because it's two different balances right now. It's we're in
right.
this like ever-changing, kind of time. So take me through, what do you set up for those proper expectations for buyers right now?
First thing I say is take a breath. It's not last year anymore. So that's the first thing, because I think a lot of people come into it and they don't understand exactly where we are compared to where we were. They ask me, hey, first of all, is there a crash bubble? No. Then they ask me how, our is it still over asking? Is it still, do I have to bring all this money? And it's really not anymore, which is super, it makes me look like the hero, which is great, because I love getting people into their first home, their second home, and I can tell them, hey, it's not this crazy market where you have to bring all of your money and be stuck with a high monthly payment. It's not like that anymore. You can come in, you can buy a nice home, you can still maybe you get a home that needs a little bit of work, maybe you get
I'll buy
lucky-
grandma's house with good bones.
Right, and that's what I say too, because there's so many homes out there with great bones, great foundation. Hey, does the roof look okay? Does the foundation look okay? Okay, maybe you go through and you do a paint job, you fix up some of the molding. It's cosmetic stuff. That's not anything you need to worry about. You need to find the home that has the good bones. And in a market like right now, there's plenty of homes out there that can be gobbled up by these first-time home buyers and make it so much better experience than it was last year. Super intimidating, scary, even for us agents too. We're showing people 6-7 houses, 6-7 offers. They lose out on all the offers, and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we're just going to tackle it next year.
All right, Mrs. Seller, listing agent Stacy Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So for you, like, how are you setting up now that seller expectation when they're like, I'm mad because the house, sat for 7 days, and
Yes.
I'm upset about it now because I didn't get 47 offers over asking. How are you managing those expectations?
So and definitely that's a term I use. I like to manage expectation from the first time we meet, and I come armed with facts. We look at what the market is doing, and I explain that what we're seeing is actually a look back of 6 months to a year. So you have to adjust for that. We're not going to see that again. And we talk about the price reductions. And something I'm really educating my sellers on is we're seeing so many price reductions in the MLS right now. In a couple months, that's going to come out in CoreLogic's report, which is going to show that. So I'm telling sellers that are on the fence, you better jump now, because it's not going to be better in 3 or 4 months. Buyers are going to sense, they're going to see, smell blood in the water. They're going to come after you. So, I educate them. To me too, it's more important than ever that we have the house ready to go. The days where you could just put up a for sale sign, take a few pictures with your cell phone, those are gone. You need that agent that offers staging, that uses a top-notch photographer, that knows how to market. And the sellers that do that and they price right are still going to get good results. But the sellers that are trying to get last year's prices, they're going to sit. And then those are the buyers that Nick's going to bring in, and get a good
right.
deal.
And
Yeah.
that's exactly, I want to piggyback off that too. That's exactly right. It's not like everyone thinking, hey, my neighbor Jim just, he got way over asking. Why can't I? Well, that was 6 months ago. We're in a different
Right.
market from 6 months ago.
Now, and I will say, like, for example, I had a beautiful home in the Clarkston area, and we priced it spot on where it should be. And even though the market, school had already started, the market's slowing down, we had 8 offers. I got them over asking, in a pretty high price point.
That's totally going to happen. There's a lot of outside sources that keep our values up here in Michigan. The world's greatest auto show is going on. North America International Auto Show taking place down here in the best Detroit, Michigan. Again, that brings a lot of jobs, a lot of attention to our area, new products, technology. It's putting a really bright light here on what we got going on here. A couple nice days are going to be really good too. 25,000 new jobs coming here. Hopefully they'll make some battery plants and some chip making things here. Michigan has some serious momentum, Becky. Now's the time maybe to buy in Michigan.
Okay, so I want to go back to what Stacy was talking about, right? Because you're absolutely, you hit on a couple of topics that, I wanted to kind of elaborate on a little bit, because you're talking about that setting that expectation. But I've had some conversations with people that were talking about selling, and they're like, well, I feel like I missed the peak. Right. And what you're saying is you haven't missed the peak, but if you do hesitate, I want the sellers to hear that, is that you could possibly miss, because you're seeing the market churn, right? You're seeing these changes, but we're still in a supply demand issue.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. 6 months from now, it might be a different conversation with the seller. So I'm doing everything I can to encourage any of them that have been on the fence. Let's have a consultation. I'll give you some staging tips. I call it pre-packing. I never say declutter. It's pre-packing.
I like that.
I offer a lot of guidance and expertise with that. And, I said, we go to market, let's see what happens. But you have to be priced right. If you go in too high, we're going to look at a price reduction, and then you're going to get less.
Yeah. And then when you're seeing that price change, so like when you're, if a seller is dictating, because some of these listing agents, they're allowing the sellers to dictate the price. And that's where you're seeing these price improvements, if you will, right?
I agree. And I always coach. I love when sellers say that they're going to interview a few agents, because there are those agents that'll tell a seller any price they want.
Yeah.
And don't do that.
No, I agree with you.
Alrighty, thank you for keeping it here on 97.1 The Ticket. It is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show on a gorgeous Saturday here, and we got lots to share with you. When we come back, of course, we got more mortgages and real estate talk. 248-539-9797. Keep it here. We are back. A nice day outside today. A little bit of summer still left in us. And again, cooler temperatures in a few weeks here. But this is still buying season. It's always buying season in Michigan. And of course, you got to tune to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show, where we're going to get you that strong approval letter. I'm Harvey Free, Becky Alley. And of course, we got the great real estate agents in here. Thanks for joining us here in this hour. We got sports coming up, of course, after us. We're going to have Pat Caputo with some sports 10 to 11, and the Michigan broadcast is going to start. We got Michigan football here live on 97.1, and of course that starts at noon, so keep it here. And of course Michigan State football later at 7 o'clock. I don't know where you're going to find that game, but hey, we're going to root them all on here. And tons of high school football. And Stacey, I'm not going to pick on you. I did get the word that West Bloomfield, the Lakers last night over your Clarkston Wolves.
Ouch. Yeah,
okay.
we were undefeated. I mean,
man.
Clarkston football it's king, you know. I'm a loyal Seatown girl.
That's great. And, that's what's really fun about our areas. We talk about it. You can buy in a town that got that great football, Tricia. You can have the walkable city. Clarkson's got a little bit of walkable, but not as much. Other cities have more, Becky, which makes it fun. A walkable city, a great downtown like we have in Detroit. You might want to go in a rural development area, get on the outskirts of Macomb or Wayne or Genesee or even Oakland County, Becky. There's all these choices.
I mean, the good thing is, yes, the buyers, what we've experienced for the last 2 years has changed what people were looking for, but now people are back to work and kids are back in school. And, but it didn't change the fact that of what buyers are looking for specifically and what's going to check their boxes and things like that. But what we were talking about, the topic today, I think, is that a little bit of a normalcy in the market that's allowing buyers and sellers to check equal boxes as much as we can.
All right, let's go to our caller here. Good morning, Rick. Thanks for calling into the show. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good.
Thanks for taking my call. And, if you've already discussed this on your show, I apologize.
No, bring
it. But
Don't
obviously, you missed 15 minutes here and there. Anyways, a buddy of mine's in real estate as well. And he was talking to me about something that's becoming popular out there in terms of, like, buyer inducements. I mean, you have the traditional means where sometimes the sellers will pay a certain percentage of closing costs and prepaids, things of that nature. He told me that what he's seeing a lot out there is, like, an interest rate, almost like a gamble, in terms of, like, he had just done an appraisal on a property that had $400,000. And then basically the concept behind it was that, money's escrow with the lender. So, like, let's say whatever the interest rates are now, 5-6%, whatever, they would actually get in at a lower rate. And if it ever came back to that rate, they would get it. But then the payment, he's getting the lower payment at the whatever rate the lower one is.
Yeah, the mortgage. Becky Alley, give us a little feedback on that. So it's a 30-year AMBEC with the 2-1 buy down. You explain.
Yeah, so that is something that we offer at Capital, and so it is not. It's really going to be buyer specific on the situation. So if you are looking at a seller that possibly might be looking to do a price improvement, you can, instead of them reducing the price of the sales, you can have the buyer say, okay, I'll pay you a little bit more, but you contribute towards my closing costs. We'll use that to give me a lower rate for this set amount of time, and therefore the seller could still walk away with a little bit more money in their pocket, but the buyer's also benefiting from it because you can do a rate buy down as far as that goes, right? So, and there are seller concessions as well that are kind of making a comeback, and what that is where the seller agrees to pay some of the buyer's closing costs. But Stacey can attest to this on the listing agent side. That only makes sense as long as that seller is getting what they are trying to net bottom line.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I do work with about an equal blend of buyers and sellers. And I just had a buyer last week get a new construction home that had been sitting a little while. They just dropped the price $10,000. So we went in at asking with 5,000 concessions. That would have been unheard of even 6 months ago. So it's perfect. He's going to buy his appliance package. The sellers still did get what they want. He still made a good profit. It was a win. And that's what we're seeing now are wins for everyone.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yes. I mean, so to your point, like, I'm not sure what agency your friend works for, but, there are things right now that it's creativity on the lending side and creativity on the real estate side that's kind of getting everyone, you have to reach across the aisle to make sure that everyone is on the same page, because it's collaboration over competition a little bit more so. And you want to make sure that as a buyer and a seller that you have an agent like, Nick and Stacey that can reach across, shake the hands, and kiss the babies to make sure that everyone is getting to the bottom line as quickly as possible.
All right, we want to thank Rick for calling in here just to keep the things going here. Rick, we'll give you a call after the show, see if we can help you with some additional information, and really appreciate the phone call. Again, if you want to join the show, 248.
What did he call it? I forgot. I meant to ask him what he called it. I don't know.
Some concession.
No, it was like a gamble. Not
Yeah.
a gamble,
Oh, a
like
gamble.
It
Yeah,
was something.
like a
I was
gamble,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, okay. Well,
We'll go to that.
Yeah.
248-539-9797. No, there's no gambling going on there.
No,
but
you
sellers,
going all in on red.
yeah.
sellers concessions can work in a really interesting way. We saw some crazy stuff going on, and what we saw was people going above appraisal. So then they would throw in last year. Remember in the last 2 years, I'll pay your transfer tax.
I had my
There you go.
buyers were doing that. I called them reverse concessions. I didn't know what else to call them. And they would say, well, can I ask for some seller concessions? I'm like, well, no, actually, you're going to pay the seller's closing costs now. And most of the time they looked at me like I was crazy. But after a couple losses, they're like, okay, let's revisit this a little bit, And it worked for some of my clients.
Well,
I
we
feel
saw-
like that's better too because you could use that as leverage so they don't have to come out of their pocket so much of their liquid funds. So a seller like, okay, I'm going to increase your bottom line by $2,700 easy as far as your closing costs. That kept more money in your buyer's pocket, which I think was extremely smart for those agents that did do that.
Yep.
Would you guys say again? So we had the 30, 60, hey, we're going to allow you to stay here for the next 2 months while you do whatever you need to do. So we're seeing that kick back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting occupancy for my sellers. Buyers are back to paying that again.
Okay.
So it's just kind of nice because unless it's a really hot home, maybe like a ranch condo like Nick had listed, certain things are still bidding wars. They really are. But there's opportunity, and I joke that my buyers don't have to to give it their choice of puppy or kitten, and a full appraisal waiver, no inspection, and unlimited concert tickets. Buyers don't have to give everything away anymore.
No,
I was
it's-
like, I'm gonna throw in. I'm like, why didn't someone throw in like a taco party during
Right,
that time?
Well, it's so funny that Stacey was seeing that last year, because that's exactly what it was. It's like, all right, buyer, I know you're new to this whole market and buying a home thing, but what all are you willing to give up? Because you're gonna have to give up more than the other guy, and it's just not like that anymore, which is so cool and so awesome because buyers are having such a better time.
It was intimidating.
I had some buyers last year, and the house they really fell in love with. In the basement, there was like some drums, a guitar, some framed records, things like that. So we knew, okay, this is a music guy. So we offered his choice of, concert tickets too, along with our offer. And a nice letter,
It was
we
fun.
threw in
Yeah, you
everything.
made it
You
fun.
have to get
It
creative.
worked. I mean, it wasn't like a crazy value, but we stood out with that, and it worked.
Yeah, I mean, because you're in tune with what people were looking for. But I'm glad that it's shifted a little bit where, like we were talking about buyers and sellers, they can say, okay, I'm looking for XYZ. The seller's looking for, ABC, and let's see what our wants and our needs are and how we can make that work.
You never know. You're selling a house and the buyer's buying it. He has a moving company. So you can say, hey, I'll make you a deal. You'll move your house or something for free. I'll get my whole staff out here. There's always some negotiations involved. And that's always been my fun part, the best part about real estate. And that sort of was out the window for a while. Now we're bringing back all these great agents who have negotiating skills, and you can
Yes.
learn these skills. It takes time. You got to be involved in a lot of transactions to get really good at it. There's no doubt about that. Speaking of volatility, congratulations. We're all living through this crazy time, Becky. We've never seen interest rates spike up so much in that short period of time. We've never seen housing go up, the values of your house go up on the good side of things. So definitely these are some great, really historical times in the world of housing.
I mean, we've, the people that, I affiliate with, right, we're experienced, right? We've seen the market or two, but you're right. The rates have not moved this high this quickly since the 80s. And that's not being doomsday because there's opportunity. A recession does not mean a housing crisis. Real estate has been steadfast more times than it has not been. And these are well-qualified mortgages buyers out here. And there, like I said, there was a lot of cash. These were not bad appraisals that were overinflating these property values. And if you took advantage, great, but there's still opportunity. And, so you give us a call. We're going to get you hooked up with Nick and Stacey and, with high caliber people, because who you work with does matter. And if you're thinking about it, reach out, have the conversation. That's all you have to do. Find out where you're at, because don't let it sit on your chest and bother you when you're not even, thinking about, if you're thinking about it, because more times than not, people that think they can't qualify, they can do. They
Right.
can.
In the same breath, too, that you need a good agent. You need a good lender, too, that's going to reach out. Hey, introduce himself to the listing agent. Hey, I'm XYZ lender, and I just want to tell you our buyer is well pre-approved and ready to go.
Yeah,
Strong
like
loan.
people are like, hey, is your buyer well profiled? I'm like, well, I have everything but the blood sample, but I've taken it as far as I can, and I can say
Just
that with a
having a
straight
good
face.
team behind you, it matters.
And I love that point too. I mean, whether especially as the listing agent, when that lender reaches out to me, and
Oh, yeah.
or when on the buyer side, get as approved as you can, like you said. Submit your documents. Don't be pre-qualified. Take it as far as you can, so that your offer just shows that you are solid. You're not going to fall through.
All right, mortgage loan limits are going to increase. They do every year. They usually don't come out to like November 29th officially, but we have the upper hand on it. Becky, I'll let you go ahead with it. $715,000. And really what it does, Beck, is it opens up that Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac 3% down and some other opportunities.
Yeah, so every year, and again, this is to the testament that the housing market is thriving. You know, the loan limits are increasing because of people are in better financial positions. So the conventional loan limit in Michigan is now increasing to $715,000. I remember when it went up to $415,000 for conventional loan limits, that was a big deal. So if you are in a higher price point, if you are so blessed and inclined to be there, you are at $715,000. That puts you where you can put minimum down. That's 3% on a conventional mortgage if you're a first-time home buyer. So it's time to take advantage of that because we are utilizing those limits right now ahead of schedule.
All right, that music says it. Our time is up here. Want to thank Nick Calty, of course, Stacey Taylor, Quest Realty. We'll come and visit you guys at the office and look to do a lot of business here in the fourth quarter. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Stacey, great stuff. And Nick, way to hang in there, man. All right, for Becky Ailey, I'm Harvey Free. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. And, of course, call Capital Mortgage at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.